Hello, welcome back to the video. Today is April 12th, 2021, and today I'm going to be going over the 2022 Senate elections and how I think they're going to go, and then later today I'm going to be going over the governor elections, so stay tuned. I'm filling in the safe Republican states right now, which mean 15 points or more. And I think that is it, actually. Yeah. And the safe Democratic states include Washington, Oregon, California, New York, Vermont, Connecticut. I'm actually going to go over Vermont in a second. Maryland. Well, actually, go over in a second as well. And Hawaii. So these are the absolutely safe states. No matter what, these states are going to go blue. They're very small scenarios where I see Vermont actually going to the Republicans. And I'm going to go over that scenario right now. Phil Scott is the incumbent Republican governor in Vermont, and he actually has a high approval rating in his poll. He was polled against Patrick Leahy and is actually winning by 3 points. I'm not sure if he's going to run or not, but even if he does, I think it will go a little bit to the Democrats. But currently, right now, it is a safe Democratic state. Similar thing with Maryland. Maryland elected Larry Hogan by a similar amount that Vermont elected Phil Scott. Larry Hogan is the incumbent Republican governor of Maryland, but he cannot run for governor in 2022. I definitely see him considering a run in the Maryland Senate, but if he does not run and does not become the nominee, it's going to be a safe state. If he does become the nominee, it's more of a optional kind of opinion here until we actually see it go down. But against two decently popular Maryland senators, I would consider Maryland a safe or likely Democratic state if Larry Hogan does become the nominee. Another safe Republican seat actually is Indiana. Let me go to its last election real quick. Todd Young. Todd Young had his last election win by 10 points in 2016, and he has become vastly more popular. He is one of more of the outspoken senators, and Indiana used to be considered a swing state on the Senate level for the past decade. No longer is that a case. I definitely see Todd Young winning by a safe amount here. Sorry about that. My throat is like really sore because I just recorded a 30-minute version of this, and apparently my mic wasn't recording. Tim Scott, I would consider a safe kind of state in South Carolina, but considering its tiny demographic trends every few years, I don't think it will. Just by a little bit under 15 points, I definitely underestimated the Republicans in 2020. So I am going to be more careful about this prediction, even though I was right in 2020 about all the predictions. Uh, Lindsey Graham won by 15.5 points in 2014, but there was a special election where Tim Scott was elected by 24 points in 2014. So in that election, he outperformed he outperformed Lindsey Graham. In 2016, he also won by 24 points, meaning he outperformed Lindsey Graham's 2020 election performance. So he's outperforming Lindsey Graham, and the main reason for that is him being an African American in one of the highest African American populated states, mostly just the South is. I would definitely put South Carolina as a safe or likely state for Tim Scott running here for re-election. He says he's not going to run for president. That means he's probably going to run for Senate. He definitely wants to stay in the political arena. I do see him doing that. A safe state for the Democrats is actually Colorado. I want to go through that real quick. Michael Bennet, not a lot of people heard of in 2016. He was elected in 2010 by a very small amount, but in 2004, he wasn't heard of until like Obama became a thing. So I definitely would consider him on the more safe side of things. You won by over 100,000 votes in a red wave year in a supposed swing state in 2016. I definitely think that does say something. And since Biden and John Hickenlooper have both outperformed his last election performance, I definitely think he's going to do even better. Joe Biden and John Hickenlooper did wonders for the Colorado Democratic Party. I don't even think the Democrats even need staff here anymore. Joe Biden had almost a safe victory here. And I see Michael Bennet definitely doing that as he outperforms John Hickenlooper on all counts of approval. Kansas is a lean state right now. That's just because I don't generally know any good candidates that are considering running. Jerry Moran, I believe, is the one up for re-election, and I don't see him. I think he's talking about retiring. I don't know if he has announced that yet, but even either way, his last election was a very good victory. But if you compare his last election from 2016, like while he did have a 29.9 point victory in 2016, his election before that was a 43.7% victory, uh, and and then the election before that for that specific Senate seat, obviously he wasn't in there, but it was a similar victory to that. So pretty much on a lot of levels, I would I would probably put Jerry Moran winning, or whoever runs in his place winning, but not by a big amount at all compared, or just because of how much Kansas has shifted to the left. But I don't see a Democrat winning a statewide race here for a very long time, at least by anything more than 2 points. Besides the governor race, the governor is always a different kind of voting thing for them. In 2016, Iowa and Ohio both voted safe for Chuck Grassley and Rob Portman, although Rob Portman is retiring, and I see whoever wins in his place winning by a similar amount he did. Amy Acton was the only Democrat I could have saw winning here in Ohio, but not anymore. It's less bipartisan than it used to be, and it's just in a genuine right-shifting area. So I would see Ohio going to the Republicans, but by less than Rob Portman won it by, which was 21 points. Chuck Grassley won by 25 points in 2016 and is now up for re-election. I don't think he's retiring. I think he's going to run for another nomination. But I'm not sure if he's going to win it, and if he does, it will be a kind of slim victory. Which means most of Iowa Republicans actually do not want Chuck Grassley to run. Most of Iowa does not want Chuck Grassley to run in 2022. So he's not very well approved of in Iowa. So since he's not the most amazing candidate, I wouldn't put him as a great one for winning the state safely. But I don't see a reason Democrats should invest money in a race for its last election gone by 25 points. There was a bad Democrat, though, in 2016, and it was a red wave year. But even besides that, Chuck Grassley would have still outperformed Donald Trump. He won by 3 times the amount Donald Trump did in 2016, anyway. I see Democrats winning Illinois by less than a safe amount, but not in a arguable amount. Tammy Duckworth won here by 15.1% in 2016 and brought out a lot of the minority vote, especially in Chicago. But I definitely think that she's going to win by less than she did before. Illinois was one of the only 6 states to shift to the left in 2016 and or in 2020. So I definitely see Illinois being one of those states that will go Republican by the end of next decade. But that's not something I can get into. It's the same case with Kansas. Tammy Duckworth will win by probably not by a huge amount. But if a good Republican is picked, it could be actually more in the toss-up kind of column. It depends on how Illinois shifts this election and how Biden's promises go through, because the president's promises always kind of represent the party's promises. Arizona I have as a lean state for the Democrats. In a blue wave year, Kyrsten Sinema won by 2.3% in 2018 with about 50% of the vote. And in 2020, John Kelly won with 2.3%, but at 51% of the vote. So overall, there is more Democrats, or over 50% of Arizona is Democrats, according to John Kelly's election. But then you go ahead and look at the how Joe Biden did with third-party candidates, and I don't think he won by over 50%. I don't think he had over 50% of that vote. Although it is becoming, a lot of the Republicans here are becoming more extreme Republicans, and that is turning a lot of the bipartisan voters off for turnout. I definitely think that if they elect a big, uh, crazy Republican running here in 2022, Mark Kelly could have a easy slide to victory. Everyone thought he was going to win throughout all of 2020. At least Democrats did, uh, and he won by less than I thought he would. I thought he would win by around 6 or 7 points, considering Kyrsten Sinema's last election. McCain won by 13 points, and in less than 2 years, Kyrsten Sinema flipped that seat by so much. But she's a lot more moderate than Mark Kelly. She's a little bit more moderate than Mark Kelly, and she's actually is a swing voter in the Senate. So she does appeal a lot to Arizona Republicans that are bipartisan voters, especially against Martha McSally, a horrible, horrible candidate that ran for both of these candidates. So just keep an eye on Arizona if they pick a good Republican nominee, and there's stuff that comes out from Mark Kelly, but generally I don't see that happening. I see Marco Rubio winning by a likely amount in Florida. It's pretty obvious that he would win here. Uh, he would carry a ton of the Cuban vote, more of the Latino vote than he did last time, and in a red wave year, he won by over 5 times the amount Donald Trump did. He won by around 8 points. So all the demographic shifts in Florida would definitely point to a double-digit victory for Marco Rubio. Missouri, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing as Kansas, although there is a retiring Jerry Moran, or no, not Jerry Moran. We already went through Jerry Moran. There is a retiring Roy Blunt in Missouri. His last victory was by under 3%. And I could see it being even closer if he ran again. He is now seen as an extreme right-wing candidate against who I think could be a good candidate, Jason Kander. He's very well known, and he is considering a run right now, but I'm not sure if he denied it yet or not. But again, just keep in mind, this could go very well for the Democrats, or decently well for the Republicans in 2022. Generally, it's going to be a red state, though. I rate Wisconsin as a red state in this election. It has always been outperformed over the past few elections. By the Republicans. They definitely do a lot better than anyone ever expects. In a red wave year, let me go to the governor election results. Hold on, sorry. In a red wave, oh no, in a blue wave year, I meant Tony Evers only won by 1.1%, not even over 50% of the vote. So, but in the entirety rest of the Sun Belt, or the Rust Belt, I meant, all of them had over 50% decisive victory, including Ohio and Iowa, although those didn't go to the Democrats. Michigan, the victor had over 50%. Pennsylvania, the victor had over 50%. That's just the governor level, though. You look at Ron Johnson. If he runs again, I definitely see him winning, and whoever he endorses, I definitely see winning. Just the other way, I see Republicans winning in a state that's going more to the right, in a right-shifting state of the country, in a right-shifting economy viewing state. So that's how I see that going. And currently, there's only 2 more states I have under a lean category, which is Alaska. God, I don't want to explain Alaska right now. We're already 15 minutes in. But Lisa Murkowski's last election was by 15.2%. She will probably win the nomination with ranked choice voting, especially with Democrats probably going to pick her. Whoever Donald Trump tries to out-primary her is only going to lose because of ranked choice voting. I definitely see Lisa Murkowski winning the nomination or winning whatever write-in she would try to do, because she has actually done that before. Alaska is a blue shifting state of the country and has shifted over 20 points to the Democrats since 2000, so either way, I see Alaska being a kind of close state. And in 2020, there was a Senate race, did go by a good amount, though, to the Republicans. 13% actually outperformed Donald Trump. But that was the best victory Republicans have had in a long time in a neutral year. There was no wave in 2020. We hardly took. Democrats hardly took the Senate, but lost a ton of House seats and didn't win the election by much at all. So that's just my opinion. I think Alaska will go to the Republicans, and I also think New Hampshire will go to the Republicans by up to a likely amount. The only reason for that is if Chris Sununu runs. Uh, you know, uh, the Democrat that will be up for re-election in 2022, Maggie Hassan, won by less than half the amount Hillary did, which means she's less likable than Hillary Clinton. Uh, so on that count, while it has shifted towards the left since then, she is having a good victory against most candidates, but I expect Chris Sununu to run and be the nominee in New Hampshire and win by up to 8 points. Here we go. Here's a decent one, an arguable one. In 2018, the last Senate race for Pennsylvania had Casey, a Democrat, winning by 13%. With over 55% of the vote. I definitely see that being a continuing trend over the next few elections for Pennsylvania, but not a trend on the presidential level. The governor, Tom Wolf, in 2018 won by over 17%, which was a actual safe margin. So it's just a state that the state of Pennsylvania likes Democrats controlling them, but not Democrats controlling the country, in my opinion. Right now, I'm not sure how that works, but generally, I think they're one of those states. I think Democrats will do better with their own economy. I feel like the only reason Joe Biden did pretty bad in Pennsylvania, despite him winning, was the fracking issue. I do think Pennsylvania will be a lean state for the Democrats, though. Georgia, with new voting laws, it's going to be close, but in a blue shifting state, it's kind of going to close the gap in the next year. In my opinion, I think it will be a blue state, but by just a slight little amount. In Nevada, right now, I actually am going to put it as lean. I was going to put it as tilt when I started this video, but it hasn't really made any significant shift. And 2022 isn't going to be a significant shift year either. It could go either way, actually, so I actually am going to put it as Nevada. I don't know why I said lean and then went right back. But Nevada is going to be a definite state the Republicans will be targeting. They definitely could target Nevada and win. They definitely could win Pennsylvania. They are picking very good candidates right now, some Army members, and they could totally win Georgia if they continue their dumbass voter suppression stuff. It doesn't matter how bad your candidates are, but don't do voter suppression. I mean, you can't say more pointless voting restrictions are going to be voting laws. Like, what is the point? Like, how do you justify not allowing to give out water to people standing in line for hours and hours? I mean, I don't think that specific part is what would stop people from voting. There's a lot of other stuff too. I think they're encouraging voter ID laws, and Arizona is probably going to do a similar thing if Doug Ducey stays in power, or like he's going to stay in power, obviously. But It depends on how a lot of the voting laws go in the South, but I definitely think generally Democrats would win Arizona and Georgia. Unless Walker runs, Walker could actually win against uh, Raphael Warnock, especially if his scandals come back up and become more of an issue than before. Now, the last state here, pretty much we're just at the cutting mark. Richard Burr decided to retire in is deciding to retire in 2022. He said he feels more separated from the Republican Party. And also, he's getting pretty old as well. You look at his 2016 election, he won by 6 points. Even if he ran again, I don't even think he would win. Because you look at his 2010 election performance, which was a Republican wave year, he had a 12-point victory. And another Republican wave year, which was his last one, he won by half that amount. So he's just getting just the demographic changes are killing him or killing North Carolina Republicans in these Senate races. I definitely see it having a even closer victory than Democrats had in 2020, or than Republicans had in 2020. Cal Cunningham would have won that Senate race if there was no scandal he had. It was just a last-second thing that Tom Tillis obviously went out and hired people to do. But I'm not gonna. I mean, I wouldn't care. I don't care about that anyway. I mean, obviously, it is a scandal that bad and you lose, and people don't want you to be Senate. I don't think he did anything completely out of moral or whatever. But generally, I see the Democrats picking up 2 Senate seats in this election, but Republicans picking up 1. So that's a net gain of 1 seat for the Democrats in the 2022 election. Although keep in mind, North Carolina could definitely stay in the Republican column, especially with voter suppression. Georgia could stay in the Republican column with the voter suppression. Nevada could stay or go back to the Republican column with Latino voting changes. Since Florida's shifting more to the right, a lot of it could be invested in a state like Pennsylvania with a veteran. That veteran that wants to run, they could definitely win Pennsylvania. And if they invest even more money from states that they used to put a lot of money into, like Ohio and Iowa, and I guess Missouri, they actually put a lot of money to last time. If Phil Scott runs Vermont, they could actually take Vermont. So they could go back to their 53-seat majority if all goes well. But Democrats could also win Wisconsin, Missouri, Kansas, in 1 out of 50 scenarios. I just see a lot of debate going on until the nominee and how we see funding is going for each party next year. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys later with the governor predictions. Goodbye.